back. So we're going to look at June 2019, paper 1. In the previous video we looked at question 2.1 and now moving on to question 2.2, which is all about simplification. Alright, this will probably be a two-part video because these questions might take a bit long for one video. Alright, but let's get started. So let's start with question 2.2.1, which says simplify the following. Alright, so this is the part in your test where you definitely have to score some marks because the work is not so difficult. So I'm giving you 2y minus 3 bracket 6y squared plus 4y minus 8. Okay, this means that you're going to take your first term in your first bracket, which is 2y. And we're going to take that and we're going to multiply it with every term in my second bracket. So I'm going to multiply it with 6y squared, I'm going to multiply it with 4y, and I'm going to multiply it with minus 8. Alright, so let's start with that first. Alright, so basically it's 2y times 6y squared. So 2 times 6 becomes 12. And y times y squared. Remember, if you're multiplying, your exponents add together. So this becomes y to the power of 3. Okay, then we move on. Then we're going to say 2y times 4y, which is 2 times 4 becomes positive 8. Y times y becomes y squared. Alright, and then we move on to our last one, which is 2y times negative 8. Then 2 times negative 8 becomes negative 16y. Alright, so there we did the first part, which I'm just going to highlight in blue so that you know where it comes from. Alright, now we're moving on. Let me just erase this so that there's space. Let's move on to our second part. Okay, so now we take our second term, which is negative 3, and we're going to multiply that with each term in my second bracket. So I'm going to take negative 3 times it with a 6y squared. I'm going to multiply it with a 4y, and I'm going to multiply it with a negative 8. Alright, so let's get started. So negative 3 times 6y squared becomes negative 18y squared. Then I'm going to do the same, so it's going to be negative 3 times 4y, which is, I'm just going to write it here for now, minus 12y. And then lastly, we're going to take the negative 3 multiplied with a negative 8. Minus times a minus becomes a positive, and 3 times 8 is 24. Okay, so let's just rewrite this nicely. So it's 12y to the power 3 plus 8y squared minus 16y minus 18y squared minus 12y plus 24. Alright, so now that we got to this part, now we just have to look for like terms. Alright, so everything to the power of y to the power of 3, it is only my 12. Alright, let's move on. So everything that is y to the power of 2, so I have this one and I have that one. All my normal y's, so I have minus 16y and minus 12y. And then lastly, all my numbers, I only have 24. Okay, so putting this together, I'll get 12y to the power of 3. 8 minus 18 gives me minus 10y squared. And then minus 16 minus 12 becomes minus 28y. And then lastly, plus 24. So there's your final answer. So how will you get marks for this? So you'll get 1 mark for multiplying the first part correctly, 1 mark for multiplying your second part, and then last mark for putting your like terms together and getting the correct final answer. Alright, now let's have a look at question 2.2.2. Alright, so what you immediately have to see now is that my unknown values, my letters or my variables, are in my exponents. Alright, so that means that this is going to be how to solve an exponential expression. Alright, so the first thing you always want to do, the first thing you want to do here is you want to get all of your base numbers the same, or in its simplest, prime number 4. Alright, so 2 is already a prime number, so we are just going to leave 2 for now as a prime number. Alright, so it will be 2 to the power of 2n. Then 4 we can change to 2 to the power of 2. Okay, you have 2. Okay, we can just put our 1 there to remind us that it does have an exponent. And then we go to our denominator, so 16. Once again, we try and get the prime number. So we know that 16 can be converted into 2 to the power of 4. And remember your exponent. Right, so that is step number 1. Get everything in its prime numbers. Alright, then we multiply out our brackets. So 2 times 2 just becomes 2n. Alright. And then at the bottom, 4 times n becomes 4n. Right, now our next step is to see if maybe there's something that can cancel. At this moment, there isn't yet, but you have a 2, you have a 2, same ground numbers, which means that my exponents can add together. So this I can rewrite as 2 to the power of 2n plus 2n becomes 4n times 2 to the power of 1. Underneath my fraction, I have 2 to the power of 4n. Alright, and what I see now is that this and this is exactly the same, so I'm going to cancel them. Alright, so I'm only left with this part, so my final answer of this question will be 2. Okay, so where will I, if I was marking your paper, give you marks? So I will give you 1 mark for changing this and this into your prime numbers, and then I'll give you a final mark for your final answer. Alright, so that's how you would have gotten 3 marks. Alright, so I'll make a part 2 of this video in which I will explain 2.2.3.